So here we go. We're going to start with, I have a few of the Beach Boys stuff, but it's in pretty bad shape because I collected it from whence it was released, and it's pretty early and pretty scratched up on my crummy little stereos that I had as a kid. So I picked up this Beach Boys compilation. It's a Capitol, I think it's a 1986 release. It's a 2-album set, and it's got pretty much all the greatest hits that I want. The only one it doesn't have is In My Room, which is one of my favorite Beach Boys songs. And this is an album. I have the House on the Hill audience album, and I picked this up. I picked this up on eBay, I think, and I think I paid, I don't know, $110. But it's a great album. They have a song, Stand by the Door, which is, I'd say, the hit off the album. And I love the Howard Worth. This I purchased right after Leon Russell had passed away. I have a couple of his earlier ones, and I did not have this. I saw this at Peddler's Mart previously. I think I got it for like $4.99. This has, I can't remember the song. It's the hit off of it, but anyhow. Leon Russell. Dr. Domino, I'm from the West Coast originally. He was out of LA, and where Weird Al Yankovic was originally discovered through Dr. Domino, and this is a collection of some of the weird obscurity records that he had played on his show early. It's an album I picked up at Half Price Books. I only paid like $1.99, $2.99 for it. I love the song Peace Peace, and the problem is that it's such a silent song that this does have some clicks and pops on it, but for the price it wasn't bad, and I'll try to find a pristine copy. I have some other Nectar, so I went ahead and picked this up. I got this for like, I think, $4.99 at Half Price Books. By the way, the Nectar is a 1975 release. 1970, after the Gold Rush, again, Half Price Books pickup. I think it was $2 or $3.99. I love Jerry Rafferty. It's the Night Owl. It's on 1979 release. On United Artists, that's what it is. And Days Gone Down, I think, is the was one of the better known songs. This I picked up, where was it? Anyhow, I'm not a big Johnny Rivers fan, or I wasn't. I picked this up just to give it a try. I think it was $1.99. And this is recorded live at the Whiskey A Go Go. And you can see it's got side 2 as a full tribute to John Lee Hooker. It's just basically a boogie for 50 minutes. And what it really shows off is his capability of guitar playing, which is really quite good. He's known for his vocals, but this kind of got me into kind of collecting some Johnny Rivers stuff, and I'll maybe show some of the other stuff I've collected since then. Big Nat King Cole fan. I have, I think, a greatest hits, but this was the original Ramblin' Rose. 1962 release on Capitol. This is the Chubby Checker, the original Twist album, before it was actually a hit. And it was really a dance party album with all these different dances that they used to back in the time, the Strand, the Chicken, the Huckabuck, and the Twist. And the Twist became a obviously the big hit for him, and I think he did several other albums with that on. Big Loggins and Messina fan. I thought I'd pick up this Kenny Loggins live, but I was really disappointed. It wasn't expensive, but it's just from his solo career, and I just wasn't too impressed at all. This was I was impressed with, though. This is Willie and the Poor Boys. This is a Bill Wyman side project, and this album's excellent. Doing some old blues numbers, Baby Please Don't Go, Slipping and Sliding. But this has got Charlie Watts, Bill Wyman, Andy Fairweather Lowe, Ray Cooper, Jimmy Page is on it, Chris Ray, and Paul Rogers, Kenny Jones. So it's quite a all-star cast on this album. It's really a good album. I think I paid like $2 or $3.99 for that. This is an album I've seen in the cutout bins for quite a few years and never picked it up. I saw it again and thought I'd give it a try. It wasn't expensive, I think $1.99 or something. This is a band, Tiny Alice, out of Cleveland, Ohio. And it is kind of bluesy rock. I was reading a little bit about them. Tiny Alice was actually the original singer, a girl named Alice, and she left the band. She's not on this album, so there's no female vocalist, but it's pretty good. Can't have enough Willie, so I picked up the Willie Nelson's Greatest Hits. I think it was like $3.99 or something. It's in excellent shape, looks unplayed. This was Manfred Mann's first album released in the United States. It has Do Wah Diddy on it, but the other songs on it are quite interesting. It's got I'm Your Hoochie Coochie Man, Smokestack Lightning, Got My Mojo Working. So you can see that Manfred Mann originally was doing a lot of blues in their earlier days, and they switched to doing more of the pop rock, English rock stuff. Robben Ford, guitarist. It's one of his solo albums. This came out in 1988, called Talk to Your Daughter. And that's it. Bob Dylan, I did not have this. This is his 20th album, Saved, 1980 on Columbia. In his, most people know he did a 3-album set of his Christianity experience, and this is one of those. Classics 4, they did Spooky. Dennis Yost was the lead singer, went on to have a solo career. But this is interesting, some of the songs they did on here. The Letter, You Are My Sunshine, Daydream Believer, Bus Stop, besides Spooky. So this is, I think, their first album. I'm a big Canned Heat fan. I have most of their albums up until a certain point, but anyhow, I saw this at Half Price Books for $1.99 in really great condition, and it's got some. I do not have their very first album, so this had some songs off of that I thought would be worth picking up. Another Canned Heat album, Historical Figures and Ancient Heads. This is the first album. This is their 8th album. First album they did after Al Wilson died, and in 1972. The last album they did with Al Wilson was Hooker and Heat. So this is a collaboration they did with John Lee Hooker, and there's some of the songs that they did on it. And when they went to do the photo for this, Al Wilson had already passed, and so they put the picture of him up on the wall. And Henry Vestine, actually the lead guitarist for Canned Heat, wasn't there for the photo session. So this guy right here, this is Henry Vestine, but they just photoshopped his head on that, whoever stood in for him at that day. So that's a little story. Big Glenn Campbell fan. Although I think a lot of his stuff's overproduced with the strings and everything, but everybody knows his guitar prowess, and he is he's always done a really good album, I think. I love the song "Hey Little One," so that's why I picked up this album. It's a Capitol. This is a 1969 release. He does "Elusive Butterfly" on here, and "The Impossible Dream." So he covers both eras. "Gentle on My Mind." This is the original version of that. This is 67. He came out with "Gentle on My Mind," so he does "Catch the Wind" on it. Donovan song. All these were at half-price books. Not very expensive, really good shape too. This is Galveston. Let's see, Galveston came out in 1969. Gotta Have a Little Tenderness is on here. Icicle Works. A British band. They had a hit with the "Whisper to a Scream." I always enjoyed that song. Never had a copy of it, so I figured I'd break down. I think I bought this on eBay. It wasn't real expensive. But the thing is that I was very surprised on how good an album it is. It's really good. The whole album is excellent. So anybody that likes the "Whisper to a Scream" song, you might check it out, because the rest of the album is worth listening to. Bee Gees Live. Picked it up because I could. I love the Bee Gees. And this is their first live album. They've got some since then. So here's another. This is the third album by Blues Image, recorded in 1970. And sign of the times. And this was basically taken from Open, which has Ride Captain Ride on it. All the stuff that they had recorded that they did use on that album. So I think there was a lineup change after that album, and this is just stuff that they used to put out. Roy Buchanan. This is Loading Zone 1977. This has an all-star lineup with Steve Cropper, Stanley Clarke, Jan Hammer, Narada Michael Walden, Donald Duck Dunn, Will Lee is on here. So he's got a great group of people playing on here. Really good album. Jamming with Edward. This is on Rolling Stones Records. This is 1972. This is from the Let It Bleed era sessions. This is stuff when they were just jamming in the studio, mostly Nicky Hopkins on piano, and the rest of the Stones were there as well. Ry Cooder is on here, and it's mostly just jams and stuff, but it's pretty good. John D. Loudermilk recently just passed away. He's a famous songwriter. Who anybody that doesn't know some of the stuff that he's written, but he wrote the Casinos did a song of his called "Then You Can Tell Me Goodbye." This is the original version of that on this album. Percy Faith. I bought this for $1. This I wanted a copy of "I Will Follow You," instrumental version for some reason. I don't know why, but I did. Loudon Wainwright. I have a lot of his stuff, so I thought I'd pick up this album. I do not have this album, so this is his third. It's called T-shirt. It's on Arrest, a 1976 release. Jimmy Buffett. I'm not the biggest Buffett fan, but we used to play in a band, and in the bar they'd play "A Pirate Looks at 40" when we were finished every time we played there, and become to really like that song. So this is this album that song is on. This is 1974 ABC Dunhill release. This is the later hits of Eric Burdon and the Animals. So this is after his first stuff with the House of the Rising Sun, and he was having his second phase. So this has San Francisco Nights, Monterey, Sky Pilot, the full version on it. So this was, let's see, 1969 it was released. So Animalization is 1966. This has Don't Bring Me Down on it. This has some really cool songs on it too. This is their fourth album they released, but CC Rider, I Put a Spell on You, Don't Bring Me Down was their hit. So this was, like I say, American release, their fourth American release in 1966. Ace had the hit with How Long. Big Paul Carrack fan. He was the lead singer with Ace at the time. So I have a lot of Paul Carrack stuff, but I did not have this. This is actually a really good album. I like it. I like Ace's music, and I like Paul Carrack a lot. And Brewer Shipley, I picked this up. This is their third album. One Toke Over the Line. They're kind of a One Toke Over the Line, yeah. So they sing harmonies. They're kind of like Everly Brothers-y-ish. This was produced by Nick Gravenides or whatever, the guy from Quicksilver, and a lot of San Francisco musicians on here. Jerry Garcia's on here, and a lot of other San Francisco type guys are on here. So, and that's about it for right now. By the way, my name is Terry, if I didn't say it earlier, and I enjoy the vinyl community, and hope you enjoyed looking at some of these albums that I purchased here recently. I'll be posting some more of my newer stuff that I picked up. Thanks a lot. Take care.